Alright, so here's the procedure for the installation of the new throttle body encoder, which you can see right here. This is the old one, and I just removed the throttle body from the car. Pretty easy to do. It's held on by 4 screws right here. It's a 10 mil screws, and you'll have 2 hoses, one at the bottom here and one at the top, and that is pretty much it, besides removing the main air intake here. Once you have it off, put it in a vice grip, preferably. Tighten it down. Protect the throttle body with a piece of cloth or carbon fiber pad. So on the newer throttle bodies, you have Phillips screws. So if you're lucky, you have the Phillips screws here, very easy to undo, and you have a star here, also very easy. You have tamper-proof screw right here, which is pretty easy to remove with this guy. Just tighten it up and get it off. Now, if you have a older throttle body, you'll have the tamper screws everywhere. And what you have to do there, you have to gently cut in a slot in the middle of a screw with a saw, and then use a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, to undo these. So once you undo these, this whole part, the top part, comes off, and I'm gonna show you that in the next video. Alright, so just want to show you guys real quick how to remove these screws. First is the tamper-proof screw here. You grab it with the lockjaw and it gives up pretty easily, and you just keep going. Then you can undo it with your fingers. Easy. And then the star, I already have a star here. Boom. Super simple. Then the 5 Phillips screws here. Once you undo these 4, this part comes off, set it aside. One more screw at the bottom. Then what you do is you grab a screwdriver, remove this gasket here off of the top of the throttle body, set it aside, and then, very important, what you do, you twist the dome sideways, and you kind of help it with a screwdriver, and pops it off. Now don't just pull it off like that, because if you do, I guess it doesn't matter because we're installing new encoder body anyway, but not to damage the brushes inside, you put your screwdriver in the throttle body in the slot right here, and you kind of hold down the rotor in there so it doesn't get pulled with a magnet up, just like this. You see that? So you set this aside. You have this seal here that I'm also gonna provide in a kit. Set that aside. You have also a little seal here. You don't have to remove that, but I'm just showing you guys. I'm gonna provide that with a kit as well. Now, to remove a rotor, all you have to do is get a pick and pull the, I'm gonna show you guys closer here. pull these brushes aside till they're no longer under pressure from this little springs here. So now the rotor is released and you can just remove it. So then we're left with the encoder body here. This is the old encoder body, and you have 3 Phillips screws. So I'm gonna remove these real quick and get back to the next video. All right, so this is how it looks with the encoder body removed. Now, when you remove your encoder body, you're gonna have grime and grease and all kinds of stuff in this area here. Very important to clean it, but do not touch the brushes, the encoder brushes. Do not touch them, do not mess with them, do not do anything to them, and do not bend the whiskers. Very important. So this is the old encoder body, and this encoder body was made in 98. So 98 was the last production run of these throttle bodies, and on my car I have the last production throttle bodies available installed. Now, even with, I think there are only 50,000 miles on this particular encoder, you can see the worn in encoder surface tracks. Now what happens there, as they get deeper and deeper and deeper, you lose the sensitivity on your throttle, and then it's almost like turbo lag. So you push the throttle pedal, and the throttle body responds later because the signal sent to the computer is not accurate because these encoders are worn in. And more so, underneath this encoder surface, there are several resistors. And the resistors, after 30 years of use, they become weak and they do change resistance, and they do go out completely actually. So we use the specs from this last production number because they changed the specs quite a bit from 1998 to 98. Within the 10 years they changed the specs of this encoder to be more responsive, and I think they also use different resistors inside, but regardless, in our new encoder we have used the best resistors you can get on the market, and we made sure to make this surface here much more resistant to wear. So in the long term, it should last at least 50% longer than the original. Okay, so on reinstallation, you're also gonna have some crud and debris accumulated around the rotor here, and you have these little grooves which I like to clean first, just like this. Very easy. That gets all of the junk out of the rotor. And then you take Scotch-Brite preferably and clean the rotor like this. Just like that. You can see it's like brand new. And then we have the encoder installed in here, and we're gonna spread these brushes and then insert the rotor here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and reverse the procedure and reassemble the throttle. Engine is running extremely smooth. No EML light, of course. and throttle response is almost instantaneous, almost just like a cable throttle. Look at this. That's amazing.